attitude.
For our country's 250th birthday, Gordon Ramsay will save the American dream.
They look like giant turds.
Kitchen Nightmares premieres July 21st on Fox.
Arboretum! Arboretum! I can't wait to see the cherry blossoms.
And the birds of paradise!
Yes, let's get crazy. We're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. Seal sang that. And John Mayer played it on the radio as a message for me.
You mean me?
Well, let's just ask him then.
Why would he be talking to you guys? He's talking to me!
Have a great night.
Now, your primetime local news leader. Fox 22 News at 10.
Thank you for joining us and happy Father's Day. Fox 22 News at 10, I'm Doug Banks. Today was also the official first day of summer, but was it like that outside today? To answer that question, let's turn things over to Chase Ropenack, who's in now with the first look at our forecast. Chase?
Thank you very much. A pretty stormy end to the weekend, but still nice temperatures out there in the mid-70s for today, especially here in Bangor. You did see the cooler temperatures further north for today. Greenville and Clayton Lake in the upper 60s. Same with Presque Isle and Holton for today. 70 in Millinock, and you saw the warmer temperatures down to the southwestern portion of the state where Sanford was just below 80 degrees out there this afternoon. So throughout the rest of the night, we're going to see thunderstorms coming to an end. We'll have some dry hours overnight tonight with some areas of dense fog. Into tomorrow, we set up for another round. There will be an included front providing general showers and thunderstorms north of Bangor into the afternoon hours. As we get into tomorrow evening, there's going to be a chance for some heavy rain to arrive. That's definitely going to fall throughout tomorrow night into your Tuesday morning. So overnight for tonight, showers and thunderstorms coming to an end, staying partly cloudy with areas of dense fog and lows hanging out in the mid-50s for tonight.
Good to know, Chase. Thank you for that report. We'll see you later on the broadcast. Folks, our top story here tonight, an inmate at the Penobscot County Jail died within 10 hours of being taken into custody yesterday. According to the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office, the individual was arrested by Bangor police just before noon yesterday, following an incident in Bangor. The individual was taken to the Penobscot County Jail where they were screened by medical staff and completed a standard intake process. The Sheriff's Office says they were unable to post bail and was later assigned to a housing cell where they communicated with staff without incident. Then, just after 9:30 p.m. that same day, the Sheriff's Office says correctional officers found the individual unresponsive while conducting a routine inmate population check. Despite immediate life-saving measures and further assistance by Bangor ambulance personnel upon their arrival, the individual was pronounced dead. The Sheriff's Office reported no altercations involving staff or other inmates with the individual. Their preliminary investigation indicates they suffered a medical event. However, an official cause and manner of death is under investigation. The individual's identity has not been made public, pending notification of next of kin. One person is dead after a two-vehicle crash in St. John Plantation. According to Fort Kent Fire and Rescue, crews responded to the incident yesterday morning. Two individuals were involved in the crash. Authorities say one of them succumbed to their injuries later in the morning. The Aroostook County Sheriff's Office is investigating the crash. To the town of Bradford now, 3 people have been arrested on drug trafficking charges following a traffic stop in Bradford. According to the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office, a deputy yesterday stopped a vehicle on East Road in Bradford for motor vehicle violations. During the investigation, the deputy determined the driver was operating with a suspended license and was subject to active bail conditions. 2 other people were also in the car. Following a search of the vehicle, officials say the deputy discovered a significant quantity of drugs. Over 120 gross grams of methamphetamine, nearly 15 gross grams of fentanyl, and around 6 grams of crack cocaine. When the deputy attempted to arrest the occupants, one of them attempted to flee the scene while in handcuffs. Authorities say that individual tripped and fell and was apprehended quickly. The Sheriff's Office says 36-year-old Nicholas Mitchell of Bangor, 63-year-old Wilbur Babb of Alton, and 47-year-old Jennifer Wartnick of Bangor were arrested and charged with aggravated trafficking of scheduled drugs, among other charges. All 3 individuals were taken to the Penobscot County Jail. Multiple crews responded to a severe early morning structure fire in Ellsworth back on Friday. The fire occurred just after 1 a.m. on Tamarack Road in Ellsworth. The city's fire department says the homeowner called 911, reporting a fast-moving fire in the living room near the front door of the single-story home. Ellsworth's fire chief arrived minutes later to find heavy flames consuming the front of the house and spreading toward an attached garage and vehicle. The scene was severe and intense. The Ellsworth Fire Department says the roof of the home collapsed, a live power line fell beside the home, and there was an exposed propane tank near the back of the home. The scene was cleared just before 8:30 Friday morning and was turned over to the state fire marshal's office to investigate. The American Red Cross is providing relief to the displaced residents. 2 individuals were transported by medical services from the scene, but authorities did not make their current conditions public. The Ellsworth Fire Department says a total of 7 departments responded to the incident. Another news here on the broadcast. Election results were announced early Friday morning for the Democratic and Republican gubernatorial nomination, along with Congressional District 2. After 5 days of tabulations by the Secretary of State Department, it was determined Republican Bobby Charles and Democrat Hannah Pingree both secured the top spot from their respective primary races. It's now those two and independent Rick Bennett vying for the Blaine House in November. Meanwhile, Matt Dunlap will be up against Paul LePage for Maine's 2nd congressional district. The former governor ran unopposed during that primary. We spoke with Chief Deputy Secretary of State Kate McBrien for her thoughts on how the primaries went.
It is so important that every single vote be recognized, be counted, and be part of this ranked choice tabulation process. And so that's what we did, is we made sure every vote was there, everyone had their voice heard. And it does take a bit longer, but the results mean everything is accurate.
Now, following the final primary election results, the 3 gubernatorial candidates made appearances on Friday, thanking voters and discussing where they currently stand.
This campaign is about housing that allows young people to actually stay here in the state of Maine. Right, Mr. Speaker? Yes. This is about health care that we can afford, no matter what corner of Maine you're in. Again, whether you're in a rural hospital in Holton or urgent care in Portland. It is about Maine's potential, a real future for our kids.
But people are angry. They want solutions. And that's the reason I'm standing here in front of you. I've never run for anything in my life. I'm just like you. I'm just like you in the sense that I am sick and tired of all the things we're putting up with, in my view, a betrayal of trust and a betrayal of integrity.
We have Hannah Pingree, who I respect, but she's a continuation of the Mills administration, was really second in command of the Mills administration. Bobby Charles is, has spent most of his life in the bureaucracy in Washington and then lobbying for corporate interests in Washington. So I think that when people see my background of commitment to this state, experience both in solving problems in the public sector and leading in the public sector, as well as creating jobs and growing businesses in the private sector here in Maine, the choice will be clear.
And as Maine's political attention pivots to the general election, our Grace Blanchard spoke with experts today about the looming battles in 3 critical races.
The stage is set for November, and Maine voters, parties, and candidates are gearing up for a hotly contested general election. In the governor's race, Republican Bobby Charles, Democrat Hannah Pingree, and Independent Rick Bennett will battle it out for the Blaine House.
So I think Bennett really does change the decision-making and the strategizing of both Pingree and Charles.
University of Maine political chair and expert Mark Brewer says unenrolled and moderate voters could be the key deciders in this race. He also points out that running without a party establishment presents a major hurdle for Bennett.
He's going to have to build his own infrastructure, and he's going to have to create a base in many ways from scratch.
The general dynamics of the state and the electoral environment should favor Democrats.
According to Maine-based Democratic political consultant David Farmer, more than double the number of voters participated in the Democratic primary than the Republican primary, which he attributes to it being a midterm election.
The president's party in these off-year elections typically doesn't fare very well. So there is, as we saw in the primary vote turnout, a lot more enthusiasm and energy on the Democratic side.
Farmer argues that modern politics is about who can capture the attention of the electorate.
This election environment this year for the governor's race is going to be challenging because so much money and so much attention, both in the state and nationally, is going to be focused on the U.S. Senate race.
The Susan Collins versus Graham Plattner race has gained national attention and is expected to generate hundreds of millions in spending.
It's going to create a challenge for Republicans come November. It might create an opportunity for Democrats, right? Can they also harness, that energy that Plattner's getting to the party and make it work for them as well?
Maine's 2nd congressional district race will be critical to determining who controls the U.S. House of Representatives. Matt Dunlap secured the Democratic nominee and will face off against Republican Paul LePage.
You have to say for sure that LePage is the favorite in this race. That being said, I think Dunlap has a chance.
I think that if Matt runs a strong, solid campaign, that he has a chance to pull off the upset, and it would be an upset.
Grace Blanchard reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news here tonight, the state of Maine is taking a major step to protect wildlife from a common rat poison. State regulators have approved new restrictions on some of the most toxic rodenticides sold to consumers. Alex Schlide tells us what's changing and why supporters say the move could save countless animals.
The Maine Board of Pesticide Control unanimously voted to ban a toxic class of rodenticides.
Rodenticides are chemicals that are used to address the presence of rodents, and there's two different categories. There are anticoagulants and non-anticoagulants. Anticoagulants, like their name sort of leads you to think here, have ingredients that actually halt the blood clotting process of rodents that eventually leads to fatal internal bleeding.
The action follows passage of LD 356, a law passed last year that directed the board to address rodenticides use in outdoor residential settings. Officials say the concern is that the rodenticide can stay in rodents' tissue for so long that they can affect other animals unintentionally.
And there are some kinds of anticoagulants that are so strong that they persist in the animal's tissue so long that they are in our environment. And unfortunately, non-target wildlife like hawks, owl, fox, bobcat, even bear will be impacted by the presence of those chemicals.
Environmental advocates are calling on Mainers to use alternative rodent control methods.
Maine Audubon is encouraging folks to do is thinking about prevention and exclusion. So what can you do to actually stop the problem from even becoming a problem? Seal entry points into your dwellings, secure trash and any kind of food sources, and remove anything that could be used for nesting.
The regulation took effect June 15th, meaning products will no longer be sold in stores. For more information on which products have been banned, go to our website, foxbangor.com. Alex Live reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news, the City of Brewer's annual Juneteenth event was held Friday morning at the Chamberlain Freedom Park. Our Sam Miller has the story.
Brewer's Chamberlain Freedom Park holds an extraordinary amount of history, and Friday marked another chapter of an historic annual tradition. Around 11 a.m. Friday morning, people gathered in Brewer for its 22nd annual celebration of Juneteenth, one of the most important dates in U.S. history. Juneteenth, a combination of the date June 19th, marks a day in 1865 when Union troops marched to Galveston, Texas to enforce the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing the last remaining slaves in the country. The ceremony included comments from advocates and officials about remembering those who persevered through the brutality of slavery and the continuous pursuit of equality.
The world is in need of voices that remind people that there are people in the world that need your help. But most important of all is to let you know that you can make a difference. You have the ability to spread some love.
92-year-old James Varner of the Maine Human Rights Coalition has lived through some of the nation's most important moments, including the March on Washington, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. Varner says equality is as simple as spreading kindness to everyone you meet.
Any human being that you see is your brother or your sister. And just treat them like you want to be treated. That's a simple thing.
Juneteenth has been recognized as a federal holiday since 2021, and local historian David Payne says celebrating this day brings people together through awareness and support.
To see gatherings like this of different ethnicities and cultures to come together, it really helps acknowledge and embellish everything, within myself that, pushing forward and having that support is really a developmental site for me and for everyone around.
The ceremony concluded with a wreath hanging next to the North to Freedom statue on State Street. In Brewer, Sam Miller, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, folks, after the break, we'll have national stories, but later on in local news, the 42nd annual Trek Across Maine concluded in New Gloucester on this Father's Day Sunday. And in sports, our Jack Webb will have a recap on state championship baseball and softball games played yesterday. Those stories and more as Fox 22 News at 10 continues.
Maine's premier community radio station, Star 97.7. Locally owned and operated for over 20 years with Paul and Mike in the morning, local weather with Steve McKay, and Michael W. Hale in the afternoon. Star 97.7.
Maine may be a small state, but we face big challenges, and Senator Susan Collins delivers solutions. When our veterans were left out in the cold, Susan Collins secured $3.6 million to help end veteran homelessness. And Collins co-sponsored the bill to protect military spouses' survivor benefits and provide rural veterans access to VA facilities. With her dedication, Susan Collins secures victories time and again for our veterans. Tell Senator Susan Collins to keep championing solutions for Maine's veterans.
Maine's premier community radio station, Star 97.7. Locally owned and operated for over 20 years with Paul and Mike in the morning, local weather with Steve McKay, and Michael W. Hale in the afternoon. Star 97.7.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. I'm Doug Banks. We turn now to national headlines. The manhunt in Kansas City. Investigators say a 22-year-old was involved in a shooting spree last week, killing one person and injuring several others near a World Cup venue. The FBI is now offering a reward of up to $25,000 for information. Fox News correspondent Madison Scarpino has the details.
The search is really ramping up. We're coming up on almost a week since the terrifying string of shootings on Tuesday that led to a fiery standoff with police. Local, state, and federal authorities are all working on this manhunt, but they're asking for the public's help in finding him as well. This is the suspect, Oscar Sanchez Munoz. The FBI says he's 5'8". He has brown hair, brown eyes, a tattoo on his right forearm, and he is considered armed and dangerous. The intense search for Sanchez Munoz comes as police say he's responsible for multiple violent incidents in both Missouri and Kansas. He's the prime suspect in 5 shootings Tuesday night in Kansas City. One person died, everyone else was injured, and this was right by Arrowhead Stadium, where countless soccer fans are for several World Cup matches. Former Detective Ted Williams says this is one of the most dangerous types of crime.
It isn't like he knew the individuals that he shot. This is a person randomly shooting, and that is what makes him very, very dangerous for that community.
But that's not all that happened last Tuesday. After that string of shootings, police found Sanchez Munoz about 10 miles away at a home in Independence, Missouri, where there was then an intense overnight standoff. The standoff ended with the home getting set on fire. Sanchez Munoz was then nowhere to be found, and the reported brother of the suspect is saying their family now has no place to live. The reported family member is also saying his brother is struggling with mental health issues, and all of this is happening while Sanchez Munoz is wanted for a separate shooting in Kansas earlier this month. I'm Madison Scarpino, Fox News.
Next, Vice President J.D. Vance is currently in Switzerland for peace talks with Iran in an attempt to move forward after last week's signing of the preliminary U.S.-Iran agreement. Fox News' Kevin Cork is at the White House with those details.
Vice President J.D. Vance continues to be the tip of the spear for the Trump administration in its ongoing negotiations in Switzerland, again to somehow come to a productive end of this 60-day ceasefire and eventually end Iran's nuclear program as the negotiations shift into yet another phase. Now, this particular effort follows an escalation in fighting between Israel and Hezbollah. The vice president, along with Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, met with Pakistan's prime minister in Switzerland. As you may know, Pakistan has been acting as a bit of a mediator between the U.S. and Iran, with officials from that Middle Eastern country also in Switzerland for the negotiations on Sunday.
What today really represents is the beginning of a technical negotiation that's not going to solve every disagreement, but is going to allow us to sit together as teams for the first time really in history to figure out what matters most to the respective parties, to settle those issues, to solve those issues, and get to a better tomorrow.
The vice president taking part in technical level talks over the 60-day U.S.-Iran ceasefire with the ultimate goal of permanently ending the fighting and reopening the Strait of Hormuz and potentially resolving differences over Iran's nuclear program moving forward. Meantime, President Trump is warning Iran to immediately rein in its Hezbollah allies in Lebanon, threatening fresh military action against Tehran. Even as the talks continue, writing on Truth Social, Iran must immediately stop their highly paid proxies in Lebanon from causing trouble. If they don't, we'll hit Iran very hard again, just like we did last week, only harder. Now, the talks were originally planned for Friday, but because of the ongoing conflict between Israel and Lebanon, they were pushed back. The Iranians continue to try to tie what's happening there to the ongoing talks in Switzerland. At the White House, Kevin Cork, Fox News.
Well, still to come here on Fox 22 News at 10. Over 3,000 people were selected to take part in moose hunting season here in Maine. We'll have that story next. And later on, meet the Williamsburg woman raising money to support a local food pantry. Those stories, sports, weather, and the weekend review here on Fox 22 News at 10.
Maine may be a small state, but we face big challenges, and Senator Susan Collins delivers solutions. When our veterans were left out in the cold, Susan Collins secured $3.6 million to help end veteran homelessness. And Collins co-sponsored the bill to protect military spouses' survivor benefits and provide rural veterans access to VA facilities. With her dedication, Susan Collins secures victories time and again for our veterans. Tell Senator Susan Collins to keep championing solutions for Maine's veterans.
Are your basement walls bowing, crumbling, or failing? Hi, I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basementy. Our Stable Lock wall system offers a patented, affordable, and permanent solution to save your foundation walls. It stabilizes, fills voids, and structurally repairs, leaving a new smooth surface. All the strength of new walls. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
It's a big, big deal. Summer is a big deal at Toyota.
Come to Toyota's Big Deal Summer Event, where you could get a deal with savings of up to $6,100 with 2.99 per 72 on most 2026 Tundra models. Plus, get $1,000 bonus financing cash. Summer's a big deal at Toyota, the longest lasting brand with the best resale value. So see your New England Toyota dealer.
It's a big deal.
Toyota, let's go places.
As a doctor in rural Maine, we're already seeing the impact. Susan Collins voted to support Donald Trump on the largest Medicaid cut in history. Healthcare is getting even more expensive. People are losing coverage. Our hospitals are closing, and the worst is yet to come. But Susan Collins gave Trump a blank check for his war in Iran. Billions of dollars that we could use here in Maine. We need to tell Susan Collins to stop siding with Donald Trump. We can't afford it.
You're watching Fox 22 Bangor.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. I'm Doug Banks. Thousands of hunters now know whether they'll get a shot at hunting moose this season here in the state of Maine. Names were drawn at the Acton Fairgrounds yesterday afternoon during the 45th annual Maine Moose Lottery. The two-day event featured vintage car shows, rides, and a moose calling competition. I wonder how that went, with the drawing getting underway at around 1 p.m.
As humans, we're meant to be with nature. And, I think as technology progresses, and which is good and bad things with it, and we definitely, there's a lot of screen time nowadays with kids, and we think it's really good for kids to get back into nature and learn how to fish and hunt and just be in the woods, and enjoy what Maine has to offer.
Officials say 75,000 people from across the country applied this year for a chance to secure one of only 3,700 moose hunting permits. To see the results, visit the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife on Facebook. Well, when you think of the early days of the Revolutionary War, the battles of Lexington and Concord and Bunker Hill are typically top of mind. But in between those two monumental moments is the town of Machias and the Battle of the Margaretta. Here's that story. The Revolutionary War reenactors of Down East Maine are still making noise about one of Maine's loudest moments in history.
251 years later, here we are.
Prior to the outbreak of the war, the Machias townspeople frequently traded lumber for provisions with the British and merchant Ichabod Jones. But when the townspeople learned about the Battle of Lexington and Concord and Jones's request to turn their lumber into barracks for British troops in Boston, they refused, leading Jones and the Redcoats to sail from Boston to Machias in Jones's merchant vessels, the Unity and the Polly, and the armed schooner, the HMS Margaretta, in demand of the now prized lumber.
A lot of the townspeople got together in secret meeting places out in the woods at the Burnham Tavern, and they made a decision to capture the Margaretta.
In June 1775, the townspeople, led by Jeremiah O'Brien, took siege of the merchant sloops. Using the Unity and local vessel, the Falmouth Packet, they pursued the armed British schooner out of the Machias River and into the Machias Bay. After a fierce exchange of gunfire and hand grenades, the townspeople commandeered the Margaretta, in what is now highly regarded as the first naval battle of the Revolutionary War.
The Merchant Marines consider the battle that took place here the birth of the Merchant Marines.
The current whereabouts of the Margaretta is believed to be submerged in the mud of Sawyer Cove in Jonesport. But 251 years later, Down East reenactors continue to shine light on that infamous battle, even if the schooner O'Brien and those Machias townspeople seized never sees it again.
We do the reenactment so that we can bring that to light so it isn't something that's forgotten.
In Machias, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News. To southern Maine now, more than 600 cyclists put their pedal to the metal for a state fundraiser this Father's Day weekend. Over the course of 3 days, bikers rode nearly 200 miles for the 42nd annual Trek Across Maine, all while raising money for the American Lung Association. Alex LaPierre has the story.
180 miles for the American Lung Association.
It's something that's so worthwhile, and it's right here in Maine. Can't get any better than that.
Hundreds of riders participated in this year's Trek Across Maine. It's a 3-day bike ride that helps support and raise funds for the American Lung Association.
For a great cause for the American Lung Association to help fund research in various lung diseases.
The challenge begins at Pineland Farms in New Gloucester, and participants ride 60 miles to Bates College in Lewiston. On day 2, riders go another 60 miles from Bates College to St. Joseph's College in Standish. The final stretch on day 3 is another 60 miles from St. Joe's back to Pineland Farms.
It's a challenge, but it was beautiful the whole time, and the people that organize it are absolutely fantastic.
This year, the event helped raise more than $719,000.
Just helping people and just riding for a good cause gives you energy during the ride, and overall it's just a great time.
Nate Canunez took part in his first Trek Across Maine this year. He was one of 40 riders on Team LL Bean. Their team raised about $50,000 alone.
Riding with the group was so much fun. You get so much energy just from riding with everybody, and it feels like teamwork.
The event finished on Father's Day. 14-year-old Warren Dyer got to finish his first Trek Across Maine with his dad, Eric.
Well, it's a great experience. It's an awesome fundraiser for the American Lung Association, and just great camaraderie on the road.
And that was Allison LaPierre reporting. Folks, after the break, the weekend review. What stories made the list? Find out next.
The
Let's go get this big money.
Know the song faster than Shazam and win. Beat Shazam returns July 28th on Fox.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Come home to the kitchen of your dreams. At Atlantic Designs, we redefine kitchen spaces, turning your dreams into reality. Our experienced designers ensure you get a stunning new kitchen while bringing function and style to every corner. Whether you're on a tight budget or ready to splurge, we've got the perfect plan for you. Your dream kitchen is closer than you think. So contact Atlantic Designs today and start the process. Your dream kitchen awaits with the kitchen people at Atlantic Designs.
Maine may be a small state, but we face big challenges, and Senator Susan Collins delivers solutions. When our veterans were left out in the cold, Susan Collins secured $3.6 million to help end veteran homelessness. And Collins co-sponsored the bill to protect military spouses' survivor benefits and provide rural veterans access to VA facilities. With her dedication, Susan Collins secures victories time and again for our veterans. Tell Senator Susan Collins to keep championing solutions for Maine's veterans.
Your call is important to us.
You've heard this before, too many times. Tired of being customer 45978? Yeah, we would be too. Speed means fast uploads, no lag, and zero buffering. But it also means calling you back, showing up on time, and treating you like a person, not a problem. So whether you're working, streaming, gaming, or all three, it is time to make the switch to a provider that actually tries. Go NetSpeed. Service isn't dead. It just moved local.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Welcome back and welcome into our weekend show segment, The Weekend Review, where each Saturday and Sunday we take suggestions to stories here at ABC 7 and Fox 22, ranging from breaking news to feel-good features that stood out to you during our weekday and air them in its entirety. First, back on Wednesday, firefighters remained at the Eagle Point Energy Center in Orrington nearly 24 hours after a massive fire broke out at the facility. Our Alex Schley has the story from Wednesday.
Just before 9:30 Tuesday night, the Orrington Fire Department was dispatched to the Eagle Point Energy Center. Upon arriving at the trash incinerator off River Road, Fire Chief Scott Stewart says crews were met with heavy flames.
Immediately, we ramped up our response to bring in other units.
Stewart says mutual aid from over a dozen departments were dispatched.
But you know, when Newport Fire Department showing up in Orrington, that's not a typical day. And there was several of those towns, and certainly without those people, this looks very different.
This is not the first time fire officials have been dispatched to this facility. Less than 2 years ago, in October 2024, a similar fire broke out, the cause of which was never determined. State and federal agencies were called in to monitor potential impacts on the surrounding area.
DEP's been here with us most of the night. EPA arrived today. We expect some sort of findings.
Wednesday morning, the Maine Department of Environmental Protection reported air quality in the area had reached unhealthy levels due to elevated particle pollution. At the height of the fire, officials issued an air quality alert for people living in the area.
But it's not what's burning or just because there's a fire. We need to, as far as air quality alerts go, we need to have evidence that particle pollution levels near the ground are rising to a level that would be concerning for people's health.
Despite air quality returning to normal Wednesday afternoon, officials say they are continuing to monitor the situation. Fire officials say a crew will remain on scene throughout the night to monitor hotspots. In Orrington, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Next, both clinicians and advocates alike this month are encouraging Mainers to be aware of their cognitive health as effective treatments for those with Alzheimer's disease become available. Our Callie Warren brought us this story back on Tuesday.
The brain is a living, adaptable organ, and it responds very well to good treatment.
June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, marking a time for all to be aware of their brain health.
There are new treatments available that are very promising and helpful.
Experts say current treatment options are more targeted and specifically address major factors for Alzheimer's.
Treatments called disease-modifying treatments because they actually facilitate the removal of amyloid plaque from the brain. The deposition or the accumulation of amyloid plaque in people's brains is what kind of starts the process towards Alzheimer's disease ultimately.
For a devastating disease with no discovered cure, advocates say these treatments give a lot of hope for those with Alzheimer's and their caregivers.
It's a 24/7 job. So you're having caregivers that are working their full-time jobs. They have family members that they have kids of their own, and they're also taking care of a loved one going through that. It's a large challenge.
While degenerative brain diseases tend to affect folks later in life, experts say there's no time like the present to focus on cognitive health.
Brain health in old age actually starts in childhood, as Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of dementia in older adults, but it can start in middle-aged people too.
For more brain health tips and treatment information, visit the story on our website.
Good treatment of your brain means getting plenty of sleep, staying socially active and cognitively engaged, giving your brain challenges, learning new things.
Callie Warren reporting for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Finally, here on the Weekend Review, a supermarket in the city of Brewer hopped on a social media trend ahead of the release of Toy Story 5. Our Sam Miller brought this story back on Thursday.
In anticipation of the theatrical release of Toy Story 5, employees of the Brewer Parody Shop and Save supermarket took to social media to have some fun. On Parody's Facebook page, they posted a video where someone off camera yells, "Andy's coming," and employees fall to the floor. The video is a parody of a running gag in the Toy Story franchise, where the toys fall to the ground and hold still to avoid being spotted by a human. Store manager Leanne Getchell says the video was a fun way to engage with the community.
We like to try to find different ways to connect with our customers online. I mean, if they see that we're posting just about food all the time, people probably scroll by. So we like to try to bring them back in just to let them know that, we are here. We're real people. We like to have fun, and we get a lot of engagement from it.
The video has racked up 15,000 views since its posting, with comments praising the store for their sense of humor and wholesome content. Employee Cynthia Atwood says filming the video was like being in the movie itself, and she feels that they captured the spirit of the franchise, which was a childhood staple for people around the world.
Everybody was so happy after that. It was amazing. The whole atmosphere in here was lifted like 10%. It was amazing. It was so much fun.
Toy Story 5 arrives to theaters near you on Friday, June 19th. In Brewers, Sam Miller, ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
And as the Weekend Review segment continues, we'd like you at home to be a part of it. Didn't see a story you thought should be included? Well, then email us throughout the week at weekendreview@wvii.com with what stories during the past week made an impact or stood out to you. Tune in again next Saturday night here on Fox 22 News at 10 for a new slate of local stories. All right, folks, Chase Ropeniak is in next with your full 5-day forecast.
After a round of showers and thunderstorms for today, we're looking at another round to start off your work week for your Monday. The good news is they do look to stay non-severe, but it can be followed by some heavy downpours as we go throughout your Monday night. What time is that expected to arrive? We'll have the answers coming right up.
I served 2 tours in the Middle East, 21 years in the Air Force.
I served in a field artillery unit.
The Maine National Guard. I respect Graham Plattner's service, but he doesn't respect ours.
Plattner falsely accused a military hero of war crimes.
He said a Purple Heart recipient didn't deserve to live after being shot, trying to save his own troops.
And Plattner blames his Nazi tattoo on military culture? That's insulting. Graham Plattner's a fraud. He's unfit to represent Maine.
Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
It's a big, big deal. Summer is a big deal at Toyota.
Come to Toyota's Big, Big Deal Summer Event, where you could get a deal like an affordable $309 a month lease on a ruggedly refined, fuel-sipping Tacoma SR5 with a $15,814 total contract cost. Summer's a big, big deal at Toyota, the longest-lasting brand with the best resale value. So see your New England Toyota dealer.
It's a big, big deal.
Toyota, let's go places.
Maine may be a small state, but we face big challenges, and Senator Susan Collins delivers solutions. When our veterans were left out in the cold, Susan Collins secured $3.6 million to help end veteran homelessness. And Collins co-sponsored the bill to protect military spouses' survivor benefits and provide rural veterans access to VA facilities. With her dedication, Susan Collins secures victories time and again for our veterans. Tell Senator Susan Collins to keep championing solutions for Maine's veterans.
Warning: entering Keepsakes may cause extreme creativity. From gorgeous fabrics and cozy yarn to gifts you didn't know you needed, we've got it all. Dive into quilting, grab a sewing machine, or join a class and unleash your inner artist. Stick around for our mystery quilt projects if you love a good surprise. And yes, we have a fudge counter, because crafting burns calories, right? Keepsakes, where your hobbies and your sweet tooth live happily ever after.
12 celebrities get schooled.
Spell guarantee. G-A. Oh, it's G-U.
Who will be the nation's dumbest? Premieres July 15th on Fox.
Thank you very much. A pretty stormy end to the weekend out there, but still temperature-wise, not too bad. Mid-70s here in Bangor for today, and along the coastline as well. You saw the warmest temperatures down near Sanford, just below 80 for you out there, but further north you did see a bit cooler temperatures near 68 in Greenville and the surrounding areas, Clayton Lake, Presque Isle, and Holton, hanging out in the upper 60s as well. So for tonight, that's where you can see some of the cooler temperatures falling into the upper 40s. Otherwise, the rest of us right around those low to mid-50s for tonight. Into tomorrow, we'll have another warm one again. We can see low to mid-70s here in Bangor, but there's going to be a south wind for tomorrow, so you know what that means for your coastline. Cooler temperatures, about 10 degrees cooler, hanging out in your 60 in areas like Portland, Deer Isle, into Machias, Bar Harbor, and Rockland as well. The rest of us, even all the way further north, can see those low 70s for tomorrow. So the average highs right around the mid-70s. We're going to try to do that for tomorrow, 74, a few degrees below average, but really cooling off again Tuesday, about 10 degrees below average due to rain showers and cloud cover early on in the day. But no issues Wednesday and the Thursday, plenty of sunshine then. We're going to warm up near 80, and another front comes through Friday, but right back near average for your weekend, Saturday and Sunday, looking to be back in the mid-70s then. So wind-wise, not too bad. Winds are lightening up out there for tonight. We can see some areas of dense fog due to that, but for tomorrow, again, as I was just saying, a south breeze for tomorrow, gusting near 15, maybe 20 miles per hour in some spots, but the wind won't be too bad. But again, it will cool off the coastline a little bit for tomorrow, while actually providing some warmth for the rest of us inland with a warm front on the way as well. So the winds stay pretty light throughout Monday night into your Tuesday, but Tuesday looks like late morning into the afternoons when we can get a little bit more wind once the front really makes its way through. So for tonight, showers and thunderstorms are coming to an end. We'll see some areas of dense fog develop as the winds go light. Into tomorrow, again, right around that same time frame, right around noon to 1 o'clock is when we expect the showers and thunderstorms to begin to develop. And that's going to stay to the north and northwest of town here in Bangor. And again, staying in central and north central Maine, where you're really going to have that best chance for a few pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Now, for the Bangor area, tomorrow evening is when we're really going to see the best chance for some heavy rain potential. And it's going to increase as we go throughout the night. So it looks to arrive maybe a few hours before this time frame, right around 8 to 9 o'clock. But again, just the general time frame being the early overnight hours for Monday. And it's going to get much more heavier throughout the night into your Tuesday morning. Some of us can see over an inch of rainfall with this. This will get out of here right around noon for your Tuesday, but it depends on how long the cloud cover sticks around to tell us how warm we'll really get for your Tuesday. If it gets out of here earlier, should be right around 70. If it gets here, or if it sticks around a little bit later, temperatures could be on the cooler side in those low to mid 60s for your Tuesday afternoon. So for tonight, mid 50s out there, partly cloudy skies. We are seeing the thunderstorms come to an end, but we have more to get through for tomorrow. We'll stay cloudy throughout the day. Southwest winds staying pretty light, and temperatures still getting up there into the mid 70s here in Bangor for tomorrow. So taking a look at your extended forecast, as we've got the showers and thunderstorms for your Monday. We'll cool off Tuesday with rain showers early on, decreasing throughout the day. As we get into your Wednesday and Thursday, plenty of sunshine out there, upper 70s and low 80s. Maybe a few showers and thunderstorms late in the day Thursday. Better chances Friday as we cool off back into the low 70s.
Good to know, Chase. Thank you for that report. Our Jack Webb will have state championship baseball and softball highlights from across Maine after the break. Stay right here.
Hey, Red Sox fans, you've got to play You Pick 'em Red Sox at foxbangor.com. Local weekly winners receive prizes from Chase's Family Restaurant in Bangor or from Chick-fil-A. Register now at foxbangor.com. You Pick 'em Red Sox is sponsored by Seasons Grill and Lounge on Main Street in Bangor, Twin City Tile, State Street in Brewer, Patrick's Pressure Washing and Sand Blasting, and Bogies on Stillwater Avenue in Bangor.
Maine's rural hospitals are struggling, but Senator Susan Collins came to the rescue, delivering critical federal funding for upgraded facilities and life-saving diagnostic equipment. Susan Collins does her job, and our hospitals benefited. Call and thank her for delivering for Maine.
Celebrate this 4th of July with Phantom Fireworks, the loudest, brightest, safest fireworks around. Phantom Fireworks, lighting up backyards of America from coast to coast. Visit fireworks.com for a location near you.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
4 international territories compete for the title of Global Master Chef.
My 3 daughters are watching. Tell them I say hi.
Master Chef returns July 15th after the World Cup on Fox.
Welcome back in, everyone. The state finals in high school baseball and softball up for grabs on Saturday. Let's begin on the diamond. Top-seeded Gorham taking on the Bangor Rams in this all-in battle for the Class A state championship. Bottom 6, Rams down 2-1 with a runner at third. Jacoby Harvey hits a fly to medium center that's deep enough to score. Gavin Glanville true, and we're tied at 2, headed to extras. Bottom 10, game still tied at 2. Gorham reliever Wyatt Washburn was mowing them down, getting the Rams side. By the way, the K-Way, the senior captain, was outstanding in relief. Top 11 now, Gorham, with runners at first and second for slugger Hunter Fink, who smokes an RBI single right to Cooper Whitehead. He scores. Gorham with a 3-2 lead now. Bottom of the 11th, Bangor with the tying run at third, but Washburn is going to get Harvey to pop out to third, and for the first time since 2005, the Gorham Rams are kings of the diamond as Gorham wins states 3-2 in 11 innings over Bangor. The top-seeded Chevrolet Stags looking to cap off an undefeated season with a second state championship in 3 years. Stags taking on the upset-minded Hampton Academy Broncos. Top 1, Stags trying to get something going, but on the bases, Broncos catcher Aubrey Shaw with a laser throw to get Gian Murphy at third, bottom first. Addison DeRoche opening things up with some high heat for the strikeout. Top second here, the Stags with Kylie Lamson at second. Sadie Collins rips an RBI single to right. Chevrolet with a 1-0 lead. Bottom 2, DeRoche doing what she does best, striking out the side. Chevrolet defeating Hampton Academy 3-2 for the Class A state championship. Bringing it to Bangor now, where Washington Academy and Monmouth Academy battled it out for the Class C state title. Washington Academy took a 4-run lead in the first, but now it's 4-3 Raiders. Monmouth has 2 runners on, but this caught foul ball gets the Raiders out of the jam in the 7th. Bottom 5 now after giving up those 4 earned in the first. Levi Laverdary was lights out. He strikes out a batter to end the 5th inning. Top of the 7th where things get interesting. Last hope for Monmouth down 4-3. They get a runner on, but Trevor Shimabukuro picks him off for the first out of the inning. Monmouth rallying though. Laverdary gets on base with a knock. A walk from the Raiders would load the bases, and when 2 strikes on him, Noah Schultz hit a hard ground ball through the infield to score the tying run. Then there was trouble getting it home, which allowed Laverdary to come around and score to put his team up 5-4 in the 7th. Washington Academy down to their final out. It's a grounder to Bryce Fletcher, who gets it over to first, and Monmouth Academy comes all the way back from down 4-0 to win Class C for the second year in a row. We stay in Class C and go over to Coffin Field in Brewer, where Bucksport battled Dirigo for a state title. First batter of the game, It's going to be Marina Keene. She sits her down to start it for the Golden Bucks. But later that inning, Dirigo would strike first. And Abby Lukzinski sac fly scores Nicole Turnbull to take a 1-0 lead. But Bucksport would get out of the jam with no more bloodshed. Then in the bottom of the first, they'd equalize. Avery Robshaw puts one over the center fielder's shoulder, which scores Keene, and this ball game is all tied up. Still 1-1 in the fourth. You're going to want to watch this. Olivia Shute is going to drop a hit into shallow right field. No one on Dirigo can get to it in time. Robshaw, she's going to round third and head home. We're going to have a play at the plate, and she is out. A great defensive play from Dirigo keeps it 1-1. Then in the sixth with 2 outs, runner on second, Zandria Libby finds a gap with her back against the wall and gives her team the lead with the RBI double as Dirigo goes on to win Class C by a score of 5-1. Let's get a look at some scores from Class B and D now. In Class B baseball, Freiburg Academy just edges out Coney 4-3. Class B softball, Madomic Valley handles Gardner 7-0. Class D baseball, Fort Fairfield picks up the win over Telstar, representing Ford North there. And then in Class D softball states, North Yarmouth Academy rolls Penobscot Valley 14-4 in the Class D softball state title game. Congrats to all the state champions, and congrats to everybody on a great season. You make it to that point, you deserve to hold your head high. For now, that is all the time we have for sports. We're right back after the break.
Maine's premier community radio station, Star 97.7. Locally owned and operated for over 20 years with Paul and Mike in the morning, local weather with Steve McKay, and Michael W. Hale in the afternoon. Star 97.7.
This spring, invest in your nest with the County Federal Credit Union. Your home has grown in value, season after season. With the county's 10-10 Home Equity Line of Credit, you can borrow up to your credit limit over 10 years with interest-only payments over those 10 years, 10-10. And then you can stop and smell the roses, soak up the sun, and invest in your nest. The 10-10 Home Equity Line of Credit, the County Federal Credit Union, countyfcu.org.
Maine may be a small state, but we face big challenges, and Senator Susan Collins delivers solutions. When our veterans were left out in the cold, Susan Collins secured $3.6 million to help end veteran homelessness. And Collins co-sponsored the bill to protect military spouses' survivor benefits and provide rural veterans access to VA facilities. With her dedication, Susan Collins secures victories time and again for our veterans. Tell Senator Susan Collins to keep championing solutions for Maine's veterans.
Whether you're thinking of getting your first tattoo or building onto your collection of skin art,
Disconnected Tattoo and Art Company in Ellsworth provides the safest and most comfortable tattoo and piercing experience.
at Disconnected Tattoo, we'll combine your vision with our art to create something special that will last the test of time.
Don't trust your personal body art to anyone else.
Call Disconnected Tattoo today to schedule your consultation.
Or check out our Facebook page.
Disconnected Tattoo and Art Company in Ellsworth.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
For the perfect floral arrangement, look no further than Luigi & Fredericks in Bangor. Our expert florists beautifully arrange flowers for any celebration or occasion. Trust Luigi & Fredericks for bouquets that brighten anyone's day.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Maine's premier community radio station, Star 97.7. Locally owned and operated for over 20 years with Paul and Mike in the morning, local weather with Steve McKay, and Michael W. Hale in the afternoon. Star 97.7.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. I'm Doug Banks. Well, to effectively fight wildfires here in Maine and in other parts of the country, firefighters must go through training, and those with ambitions to help others went through just that back on Friday. Maine Forest Service's Wildland Firefighter Field Exercise provided students an opportunity to practice wildfire suppression tactics using hand tools and water pumps, as well as fire shelter deployment techniques. Officials there say the course is a requirement for those pursuing national wildland firefighting qualifications.
Everyone here loves fighting fire.
So we're all here for the same reason, to get the card or renew the red card and go fight more.
I work for Kennebec County Emergency Management Agency. It's a benefit to know about what they're doing.
Wildfire is a very dangerous environment to be in, and being a wildfire firefighter can be very dangerous too. So this course properly teaches how to be safe in that environment and how to do the job effectively and get home as well.
Friday's training, part of the Maine State Wildland Fire Training Academy, was held at the Maine Forest Service Southern Region headquarters in Augusta. Their training consists of several online courses through the federal government, 40 hours of online wildfire training, and in-person training as well. Well, as we shared earlier in the broadcast, the town of Machias is rich with history, and some in town are working to keep its history alive for generations to come. On a 94-acre plot of land off East Kennebec Road, work toward building the 1800s-style Machias Liberty Village has already begun. According to Machias Historical Society member Joe Dowling, it will be a reenactors village featuring a meeting house, a blacksmith shop, stables, and more. Looking ahead, plans include building a Fort Foster replica and teaching classes on the land too. Dowling says they're continuing to apply for grants while also receiving numerous community donations. Well, June is Pride Month, and thousands of people gathered to celebrate yesterday in the city of Portland. Allison LaPierre has a story.
Streets of downtown Portland filled with rainbow flags, music, and celebration today as thousands turned out for the annual Portland Pride Parade.
I love being here and just seeing how much camaraderie there is in the entire community for everybody.
From colorful floats to live music and community organizations, Portland Pride offers a chance for everybody to connect.
Really, it's just about coming together to celebrate everyone being themselves.
Parade participants marched through the city before heading to Deering Oaks Park for live entertainment, food vendors, and fun. It brought together LGBTQ+ community members, allies, families, and visitors from across the state.
Just love the color everywhere. Everyone just always gets so dressed up and goes all out. It's just so much fun seeing all the appreciation everyone has.
The parade began in Monument Square and was led by the group that calls themselves Dykes on Bikes. The parade goes through the city and finishes at Deering Oaks Park.
Love the parade, I love the fits, everybody's, happy.
Skylar Harlow says the event is more than just a celebration. It's a chance to be supported and surrounded by community.
It's been a huge, support for me at least, as somebody who lives out in the middle of the woods. So it's good to come here and spend time with everybody.
The parade ended with more than 1,000 volunteers carrying a quarter-mile-long rainbow flag to the park.
And that was Allison LaPierre reporting. Finally here tonight, a Williamsburg woman is raising money to support a food pantry in LaGrange by doing something that she loves. Our Kelly
So
Warren.
whatever you think is having fun in your life can always help someone else.
For Lori Scribner, fun is baking, especially
New England fudge. Fudge is the best thing I like to make. Some people crochet, I make fudge.
After seeing people in her community struggle, inspiration struck her to lend a helping hand.
I volunteer at the food cupboard up in LaGrange, and the line's getting longer and longer. I've been baking all week, and I sat here for 11 hours yesterday, 12 hours.
She set up shop outside the Orono IGA with
a pulled pork dinner that has coleslaw, potato salad, and applesauce, or you can buy just a sandwich. And I have baked goods.
And of course, her famous fudge, all for a cause.
Everybody needs it. There's a lot of help being needed out there. And if we don't help each other, who's gonna?
Callie Warren reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
That is all we have for tonight. I'm Doug Banks, and for everyone here on Fox 22 News at 10, thank you for watching. We'll be back here tomorrow morning, and hopefully you are too. Until then, take care, good night, and happy Father's Day.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
Maine's rural hospitals are struggling, but Senator Susan Collins came to the rescue, delivering critical federal funding for upgraded facilities and life-saving diagnostic equipment. Susan Collins does her job, and our hospitals benefited. Call and thank her for delivering for Maine.
Keep your vehicle running smooth this summer with help from Frost's Garage.
It's really hot in my car all the time.
We'll get you AC service, no problem.
Really pulls to one side and shakes a lot.
Sounds like you need some front-end work. Not a problem.
It really used to fly. Now it barely just chugs along.
Could just need a tune-up. We'll take a look.
No matter the issue, Frost's Garage will keep your vehicle safe all year long.
I'd say it flies now.
Need a safe and caring place for your loved one during the day? At the Merchant Center Adult Day program, we provide a supportive environment where adults can enjoy companionship, engaging activities, and personalized care in a setting that feels like home. Our experienced staff is committed to meeting each person's unique needs while promoting independence, dignity, and overall well-being. Families can feel confident knowing their loved ones are in compassionate, capable hands.
Cancer affects everyone, but there is hope at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center's Champion the Cure Challenge, where every dollar raised helps patients in our own backyard. Make a difference. Walk, run, or cycle August 15th in Brewer. Visit ctcchallenge.org.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22. You're watching Fox 22 Bangor.